Okay, let's talk about launch metrics. I mean, just hearing that phrase is enough to make most of us a little tense, right? But what if it didn't have to be that way? Today, we're going to explore how you can turn those numbers from a source of major anxiety into a source of real wisdom, all with a little help from AI. Let's get into it.
So, be honest. Does this one hit a little too close to home? I think we've all been there. You're in the middle of a launch, and you just feel like you're drowning in numbers, totally unsure of what any of it actually means for your business.
Yeah, it's such a familiar scene, isn't it? You've got the sea of spreadsheets, endless columns of data, you have tons of information, but you're just starving for actual insight. It's so overwhelming, and honestly, it often creates more confusion than it does clarity.
But here's the thing. What if we could flip that script entirely? Just imagine for a second if your numbers didn't give you that pit in your stomach, but instead they gave you this calm, clear sense of direction. And look, this isn't just wishful thinking. It's about making a fundamental shift in how we look at our data. And that brings us to this amazing idea, soulful metrics. Look, of course, revenue is important. We're running businesses. But a truly successful launch, that's about so much more. It's about connection, community, and the value you're creating. It's really about the health of the entire conversation you're having with your audience. This right here, this is the core philosophical shift. The moment you start seeing your launch as a conversation, everything changes. The metrics you track, the questions you ask, it all shifts. You stop asking just how many sales did I make, and you start asking, how is this conversation actually going? And you can really see that shift when you put the two approaches side by side. So on one hand, you've got the traditional stuff, revenue, sales volume, all very transactional. But with the soulful approach, you start prioritizing things like engagement, connection, and trust. You start valuing that qualitative feedback just as much, if not more, than a simple conversion rate. So what does that look like in practice? Well, it means tracking the tangible signs of that conversation. The likes, the comments, the shares on your posts. It's looking at email open rates, not just as a number, but as a sign that your audience trusts your subject lines. And my personal favorite, the actual replies you get to your emails and DMs. I mean, that kind of feedback, that is pure gold. Okay, so right about now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but I'm no data analyst. And here's the absolute best part. You don't have to be. We're going to use AI as your own personal data analyst, which makes this whole approach accessible to literally everyone, no matter how much you might dislike numbers. The key is to just get this relationship straight in your head. Your job is super simple. You're the detective. You just gather the clues, the raw data. The AI, that's your genius consultant. You hand over the clues and it connects all the dots for you, revealing the story that was hidden in there all along. All right, so how does this actually work? Let's get practical. We're going to turn those raw numbers into a clear story in just 3 simple steps. And I promise there's no complex software or confusing formulas involved. The process is so straightforward. Step 1, you grab just a handful of key data points. Step 2, you pop them into an AI with a really powerful prompt. And step 3, you get back a clear, actionable summary in plain English. Seriously, that's the whole thing. And when I say a few data points, I really mean it. We're talking about basic stuff you already have, right? Your email list size, your open rate, your total sales. Simple numbers you can just pull from whatever tools you're already using. You're not doing any math here, you're just collecting those clues for your AI partner. Okay, now this is where the magic happens. The prompt you're going to use is surprisingly simple. First, you give the AI its job title. You literally tell it you are an expert launch data analyst. Then you give it a clear task. Analyze my numbers, summarize how it went, and tell me where the problems are. After that, you just paste in your data. It's that easy.
And what happens next is pretty amazing. In just seconds, you get an instant, clear insight. So in this example, the AI immediately sees, hey, your open rate is great, people are interested, but the click-through rate is low, and it tells you that maybe your call to action isn't strong enough. Now that is a powerful piece of wisdom that could have taken you hours of staring at a spreadsheet to figure out on your own, if you even figured it out at all.
And that right there, that's the transformation we're talking about. You go from being a stressed-out data wrangler, totally lost in a maze of spreadsheets, to becoming this wise business sage who actually understands the story their numbers are telling. And because of that, you can make these incredibly confident decisions. So really, the main takeaway here is this. With the right mindset and the right tools, data doesn't have to be this scary enemy anymore. It actually becomes your most trusted advisor. It becomes your source of clarity, guiding every single one of your soulful business decisions. So I've got a simple challenge for you. Don't try to boil the ocean here. Just pick one small piece of your business, maybe your weekly email or your Instagram engagement, and just track it for 1 week using this detective and genius method. Just see what you discover. No pressure.
And that leaves us with one last, really empowering question. I want you to stop seeing your data as just boring numbers on a screen. Instead, start asking yourself this: what story is my data waiting to tell me? Because I promise you, the answer just might change everything.